This is the exact routine I run every single time a paycheck hits my account, and it's the reason I went from checking my balance in a panic before every gas station fill up to having six figures sitting in accounts that are actually working for me. Same day, every time, no exceptions. That's the number that changes everything, not the amount of the paycheck. The discipline of what you do in the first 30 minutes after it lands. Let me give you the latter real quick, because I'm not about to sit here and tell you to do this from some ivory tower. At 22, I had $211 in checking and a car that needed brakes I couldn't afford. By 26, using a version of this exact routine, I had my first $10,000 saved, not invested, just sitting there, untouched. Mine by 30, I'd crossed six figures in investable assets, and the routine didn't change. I just multiplied the same steps by a bigger number. That's the whole secret, right? The system doesn't change. The paycheck does. Now let's be honest about what six figures actually buys you. Because I'm not going to hype this up like it's yacht money. It's not retirement. It's not quit your job and disappear to Bali money. What it actually buys you is options. It buys you the ability to say no to a bad boss without your stomach dropping. It buys you the ability to take a lower paying job you actually like. It buys you room to be aggressive with an investment or a business idea because you're not one missed paycheck from disaster. That's it. That's the whole prize. Boring, unglamorous, incredibly valuable. And here's the thing about starting this routine now versus starting it in 5 years. Every month you delay is a month of compounding you don't get back. But I don't care if you're sitting at $0 right now or you've already got 30 grand tucked away. This routine works exactly the same way, and there's zero shame in starting today wherever you're starting from. I've talked to people in their 40s starting from scratch and people in their 20s who already blew through an inheritance. The routine doesn't care about your backstory. It only cares whether you run it. So here's the promise. 7 steps. Every one of them is something you do the day your paycheck lands, not eventually, not when things calm down. 7 steps, no fluff, and I'm going to give you real numbers, not vague advice like save more. Before I get into it, drop a comment with where your paycheck situation actually is right now, living paycheck to paycheck. Got a small cushion, already investing but want to optimize. There's no right or wrong answer here. I just want to know who's actually watching this. So be honest. Nobody's grading you. Alright, step 1. The second your paycheck hits, before you look at your checking account balance, before you pay a single bill, you move a fixed percentage straight into a separate high-yield savings account that you do not have a debit card for. I'm talking 10 to 15% off the top, automated, same day. Why does the order matter so much? Because money that sits in your checking account gets spent, not because you're irresponsible, but because your brain treats available balance as available to spend. I opened a completely different bank for this, on purpose, so I can't accidentally tap it from an ATM at 11 p.m. When I started this at 23, it was $80 a paycheck. $80. It felt like nothing. 18 months later, that nothing was $4,200 I didn't know I was capable of saving. Step 2, and this one trips people up, you pay yourself first into investments, separately from the savings in step 1. This is a different bucket. This money is not for emergencies, it's not for a vacation, it goes straight into a brokerage account, automated, into a low-cost total market index fund, same day as payday. I typically tell people to start at 5% of gross if that's all you can manage, and scale it up every time you get a raise before your spending scales up. Here's the math that should scare you a little. Someone investing $400 a month starting at 25 will have more at 65 than someone investing $800 a month starting at 35, even though the second person put in more total money. Time in the market beats timing the market, and payday is when you buy that time. Step 3. Zero out your checking account on paper, meaning every single dollar left after steps 1 and 2 gets assigned a job before it gets spent. This is not a vague budget. This is syncing funds with actual names. Car repair fund, Christmas fund, my dog is going to need the vet eventually fund. I run 4 of these year round, $200 a month into car maintenance, $100 into gifts and holidays, 75 into annual subscriptions and renewals so my car insurance bill in November doesn't wreck my whole month, and 50 into a life happens fund that's separate from my real emergency fund. The reason this matters is that most people's financial life doesn't fall apart because of one big emergency. It falls apart because of a $200 car repair they didn't plan for, 3 months in a row. Step 4, and this is where people either make real progress or spin their wheels for years, you attack one debt, and only one, with everything left over, using the avalanche method, highest interest rate first, regardless of balance size. Not the smallest balance, the highest rate. I don't care how good the snowball feels psychologically for some people, mathematically the avalanche saves you real money, and I want you focused on math right now, not feelings. If you're carrying a credit card at 24% interest and a car loan at 6%, every extra dollar goes at the credit card, period, until it's dead. I did this with $11,000 of credit card debt at 26, threw every spare dollar at the highest rate card first, and had it wiped out in 14 months instead of the almost 3 years it would have taken minimum payments only. Now step 5 is the one people skip because it feels like you're not doing anything. You pause increasing your investment percentage until your true emergency fund, the untouchable one from step 1, hits 3 to 6 months of your actual bare bones expenses, not your current lifestyle expenses, your bare bones I lost my job tomorrow expenses. For most people, that's somewhere between $9,000 and $18,000 depending on your study and situation. I know that sounds like a wall, but this buffer is what lets you survive a layoff without touching your investments or your debt payoff plan, and it's temporary. This isn't a forever pause. This is a 12 to 18 month season where you're building a floor under yourself so nothing knocks the whole system over later. Step 6 is picking one skill or income stream to build with the excess capacity you now have once the first 5 steps are humming along on autopilot. And here's where I need to save you some time and money. I want to dismiss 2 things right now that are going to tempt you. Day trading and options trading are not this. Over 90% of retail day traders lose money over a multi-year period. That's not opinion. That's been shown study after study. You are not the exception. And neither was I when I tried it at 24 and lost about $600 finding that out the expensive way. Second, just become a content creator is not a business plan. It's a lottery ticket with a ring light. Pick a skill with actual boring demand, copywriting, a trade certification, sales, basic coding, whatever fits your life, and get good enough at it that someone will pay you directly for it, not views for it. This is also the point where if you want a faster, more structured path through building that skill and the whole system around it instead of piecing it together from videos like this one. That's literally what my coaching program is for. Links in the description. No pressure. It's there if you want a shortcut through the trial and error. Apply if it looks like a fit for where you're at. Step 7 is the hardest one, and I want to say that plainly before I even explain it. This is the step that separates people who actually build wealth from people who make good money for a few years and somehow end up with nothing to show for it. This step is simple to say and brutally hard to live. You do not upgrade your lifestyle every time your income goes up. When you get a raise, that raise goes straight into steps 1 and 2 before you even feel it hit your checking account, not into a nicer apartment, not into a bigger car payment. I've watched people go from $40,000 a year to $90,000 a year and end up with less in savings than when they started because every raise got absorbed into rent, a new car, and a lifestyle that quietly scaled up right alongside the income. I made $90,000 my first year, clearing 6 figures in total comp, and I was still driving the same $2,200 Honda Civic I bought at 23, still living in a 1-bedroom instead of upgrading to the 2-bedroom every single friend of mine told me I deserved. That car and that apartment are the actual reason I hit 6 figures in investments years faster than people who out-earned me. So let's run it back, quick, no elaboration, just so it's locked in your head. Move a percentage to separate savings the day you get paid. Pay yourself first into index investments. Zero out your checking with named sinking funds. Avalanche your highest interest debt. Build your true emergency buffer before scaling investments further. Pick one boring high-demand skill instead of chasing lottery tickets. And don't upgrade your lifestyle every time your income goes up. Here's why all of this sacrifice is actually worth it, zoomed all the way out. If you get this routine running and you're investing even $500 a month consistently starting in your mid-20s at a historically reasonable 8% average return, you are looking at over $1 million by retirement age, off contributions that add up to a fraction of that total. The rest is just time and compounding doing the heavy lifting while you live a completely normal life. That's the entire pitch. Boring routine, extraordinary result because you let time do what time does. One more gut check before I let you go. I promise you, somebody in your feed this week is going to tell you about a coin that's about to 10x or a stock that's about to explode. Ignore it. That's not a strategy. That's a story somebody's telling you to get your attention. And attention is the only thing it's actually built to capture. The routine I just gave you isn't exciting, and that's exactly why it works. Nobody's making a viral video about compound interest on a boring index fund, but it's the thing that's actually going to be true in 20 years. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is easy because it's not. Cutting a car payment, saying no to the apartment upgrade, watching your friends spend while you automate money away, that's genuinely hard some months. But I want to see you win this, I really do, and this routine is the most reliable way I know to make that happen. Run it every single payday, no exceptions, and I'll see you in the next one. You in the next one.